Imagine surviving the apocalypse just to deal with a stepmother who has the personality of a wet napkin. After telling his family to get lost, Dojun is back to treating high-rank hunters like annoying flies. Today, we see why you should never charge a sword god a 40% commission. She wore jewelry like armor. She thought it made her untouchable. She was wrong. To Dojun, she was a stain, a loud, vibrating insect. She mocked his clothes. She mocked his mother. She was digging a grave and asking for a shovel. Dojun stopped eating. He didn't look at her with anger. Anger is for equals. He looked at her with the detached curiosity of a man observing a pest. She demanded submission. He gave her a diagnosis. He compared her to an orc. It wasn't an insult. It was a factual observation. The monsters he had slaughtered in the ruins had more dignity. The memories of the old Sodojun tried to surface. 12 years of silence. 12 years of swallowing insults in a mansion where he was a ghost. He felt the original owner's grief. Then, he crushed it. The sword god does not endure. The sword god does not lower his head. He dismantled her. He used words like a scalpel, peeling back her vanity and her inferiority. He pointed at Eunyoung. He called her superior simply because she knew how to be human. The woman's face twisted. The truth is a bitter poison. Then came the stepmother, the woman who wore elegance like a cheap mask. She slapped her daughter. It wasn't a lesson in morality. It was damage control. She smiled at Dojun. She spoke of family. She spoke of his father's worry. It was a practiced performance. Dojun didn't applaud. He told her she made him sick. He stepped into her personal space. He stripped away the pretense of blood. He didn't ask her to leave. He commanded it. Get lost! 2 words. They carried the weight of a ruined world. The stepmother flinched. Her survival instinct finally woke up. She looked at him and realized the submissive boy was gone. Something else was wearing his skin. Dojun walked away. He didn't look back. The Dojun who bowed was dead. In the car, the facade crumbled. The daughter whined for petty revenge. She was too foolish to realize she had just escaped a predator. The mother was focused on a different problem. Dojun was supposed to be a corpse, a rift zone, an assassination. The plan had been perfect. Yet, he was still breathing. The stepmother's mask was gone now. There was only the face of a murderer whose trap had failed. She gripped the seat and made new plans. She plotted against him as if he were still a man. She sat in her luxury car, trying to outsmart a calamity. She didn't know the truth. The moment he opened his eyes in this world, her fate was sealed. This is only the beginning. The sky broke 10 years ago. To the people of this world, it was an apocalypse. To me, it was just a change in scenery. Monsters poured out of the rifts. They didn't negotiate. They just slaughtered. Humanity was soft. They bled until they realized the monsters were full of money. Fear turned into an industry. Magic stones replaced oil. The world didn't end. It just found a new way to be greedy. Power used to be about politics. Now, it's about who can survive a gate. I understand the rules of this game better than anyone. I stood before HCS Capital. To a normal person, this is a loan shark's den. To me, it's a resource depot. I walked in. The stairs were filthy. The air smelled like cheap tobacco and unearned confidence. The men inside were predators in a very small pond. They looked at me and saw a victim. I didn't look back. I scanned the room. I dismissed them. I picked up a lit cigarette from an ashtray and held it. The boss growled. He crushed his own cigarette to show dominance. Petty. I extinguished mine against the table. He did it because he was angry. I did it because the conversation was over. I've been thinking, I said. My voice was steady. I'm at a loss here. I sat on his couch. I took his space. He was confused. The boy he used to bully was gone. He thought I had awakened. In his mind, a new hunter is just a puppy with bigger teeth. He told me he had plenty of D ranks under him. He told me to sit down. I told him I wasn't done talking. He lunged. He wanted to grab my collar. It was slow, glacial. I didn't dodge. I corrected the space between us. He grabbed empty air. Then, I hit him. It wasn't malice. It was just physics applied to meat. The others rushed in. I didn't waste energy. A slap, a trip, a shattered nose. I dismantled them while asking about my new ID. I know you forged them, I said. I slammed a man's face into the floor. I need a hero ID. Make it flawless. The boss watched his empire of trash collapse in seconds. He was trembling now. He looked at me and tried to measure the gap. He guessed I was a B rank. He was measuring the ocean with a ruler. By tomorrow, I ordered. He nodded. He would have promised me the moon to make me leave. But I wasn't finished. Did Hong Hee-ju tell you to kill me? He hesitated. I grabbed his shoulder. I squeezed until the nerves gave up. He screamed. Pain is a very effective truth serum, he confessed. My stepmother wanted me dead. She wanted it to look like a suicide. Clean, professional. She trapped me in a gate to finish the job. The boss claimed he didn't know about the gate. He's too greedy to kill a debtor before the check clears. He was telling the truth. Kang Chul-woo, I said. The man who dragged me into the rift. Bring me everything you have on him by tomorrow. The boss agreed. He would sell his mother to survive the next 5 minutes. I walked out. The sun was bright. The original owner of this body lived in terror of these men. He had a simple wish. Keep his grandmother and sister safe. It's a small burden. I'll carry it. I have a list of names now. Kang Chul-woo is at the top. He thinks he's a predator. He's about to find out where he actually sits on the food chain. This is only the beginning! The machine flashed red. It spoke of safety protocols and rank requirements. It thought a piece of plastic defined the man standing before it. Bureaucracy is a tedious shield for the weak. I pushed past the barrier. The world tried to label a disaster. It failed. Bamsom Gate, a B-rank tunnel. Pitch black. Most hunters would be suffocating in fear right now. To me, the darkness was just an old neighbor. The air smelled of damp stone and predictable violence. I liked it. The shadows moved. A massive serpent lunged from the gloom. It expected a victim. I gave it a smile. I didn't use a weapon. I used my hands. Scales tore. Flesh gave way. The blood was warm. More hissed in the dark. Black fanged snakes. In my world, they were pests. Here, they are considered nightmares. A matter of perspective, I suppose. I moved through their strides. One graze means paralysis. They never got the chance. I snapped necks while calculating their market value. 300,000 won. A pathetic sum for the effort. But I needed the pocket change. 3 heads fell in one motion. Venom sprayed against the walls, hitting nothing. I searched the meat. No magic stones. The drop rate is 3%. Fate wants me to work for my meal. Fine. I'll just increase the sample size. I'll kill hundreds. I moved deeper. Skeletons rose to greet me. I dismantled them without breaking stride. Waste no movement. Conserve everything. Then, the air changed. The master appeared, a golden serpent, scales like metal. The boss. I didn't wait. I drove a fist into its skull. The sound was dull. No crack. No blood. My current body is a limitation. The technique was perfect. The vessel was lacking. I needed a tool. I looked at the trash on the floor. A rusted longsword, chipped, brittle. To a novice, it's scrap. To me, it's an executioner's blade. The golden snake struck, a blur of muscle. I didn't dodge. I stepped in. I channeled intent through the corroded steel. A simple vertical stroke. The air screamed. The golden scales offered no resistance. It's an honor to be killed by my hand. The beast didn't even realize it was dead until it slid apart. Gore rained down. I caught a magic stone before it hit the filth. Losing that would have been the only real tragedy today. The sword was ruined. The tip was gone. I'll sharpen it later. It still beats manual labor. I walked out under the full moon. The night air was cool. I wasn't celebrating. A single B-rank gate took this much time. Embarrassing. This body's a leash. I need to break it. My old comrades would laugh if they saw me struggling with a snake. Strength is the only priority. This was a chore. The real work is coming. The city has a wound. It's called the black market. Hunters crawl here to trade monster blood for paper currency. They think the money will matter when the world ends. It won't. A veteran hunter dumped his bag of trash on the counter. Low-grade stones. He wore his scars like medals. He thought he was a shark in this little pond. The clerk behind the glass was already broken. Bruises from a previous lesson decorated his face. He demanded 40%, the standard tax for the lawless. The veteran paid a bribe to keep the records clean. He thought he was playing the system. He didn't realize the system was about to be erased. The doors slid open. The sword god walked in. He didn't carry a blade. He didn't need one. The clerk's soul left his body. The trauma was fresh. He pointed a shaking finger at the man who had already dismantled his guards once. The veteran hunter saw an opportunity to show off his seniority. He stepped in the way. He spoke of rules. He spoke of his 7 years of experience. He talked about connections. The sword god didn't blink. Get lost! The veteran looked into eyes that had watched empires burn. His survival instinct, the only useful thing about him, finally screamed. The lecture died. The arrogance evaporated. He claimed he was busy and fled. A wise choice for a coward. The sword god turned to the counter. He wasn't there for a fight. He was there for resources. He emptied his bag. Red gems spilled out. High-grade mana stones. They made the veteran stones look like gravel. The clerk's greed fought with his terror. 150 million won. The clerk tried to be a bureaucrat. He stammered about the 40% commission. The correction was immediate. 1%. The clerk screamed about procedure. He called his boss. He thought a phone call would protect him from a predator. The sword god grew bored. He didn't move a muscle. He simply let his presence heavy. The concrete wall behind the clerk spiderwebbed. It crumbled into dust under the weight of a single thought. On the other end of the line, the boss heard the sound of his building disintegrating. He was a man who enjoyed living. Pay him, the boss said. The money was packed. Stacks of bills. The sword god took the bag and walked out. No thank you. No goodbye. The clerk quit on the spot. He was the only one who understood how close he had come to vanishing. 10 minutes later, the air in the shop changed again. Clicking heels. Purple hair. Hyun Juyeon, the 4th S rank in the country. She didn't look at the rubble. She looked at the trail of mana left in the air. She sat on a desk like it was a throne. She wanted to know who had brought high-grade stones into her city. She thinks she is the hunter. She doesn't realize she's sniffing the tracks of a disaster. This is only the beginning. Dojin just turned a loan shark into a literal barking dog, proving that firebranding is the ultimate HR strategy. With his new pets guarding the house, he's finally ready to start breaking the world's ranking system. If you think the sword god needs a license to be a menace, hit subscribe now.